Morning everyone. Today we are going to discuss important grouping or organization that is called Arctic Council. So around the Arctic Ocean or North Pole where it is located, there are two poles, North Pole and South Pole. There is Arctic region and Antarctic region. So around the Arctic region there are many issues that are going on. So we will discuss what are the issues in Arctic region and why this Arctic Council has been formed, and along with all these we will also discuss how Arctic region is important for India as well. So we will begin this discussion about Arctic Council today. So before understanding what is Arctic Ocean, what is Arctic Council, we will understand the geographical region and importance of it. So here we can see it is North America, here it is South America, and in between Africa and Europe and to the North America and South America there is Atlantic Ocean. And when you go north towards this Atlantic Ocean, we can find the Arctic Ocean. So here down in the South Pole we have Antarctic Ocean. Here there is Arctic Ocean. So in this Arctic Ocean, this whole region which is surrounded around this in the North Pole, we call it as Arctic region. But it is very important because it has a different climate in this region. Different kind of fauna and flora are there in this Arctic region. And as you all know, if you study geography, Arctic Ocean is has a very special significance in climate as well. So we will discuss the issues of climate, geography and importance of environment in Arctic region. So when you see the map over here, Arctic region consists of boundaries or lands of different countries. So here there is Greenland, if you see in the map. So you have to open the map and see, and then you will understand the countries that are part of this Arctic region. So half of one fourth, not even one fourth, some significant land of North America is there in the Arctic region. So for US also this Arctic region is important. And here there is Canada also. Canada has also the land that falls under Arctic rim. So along with this, Europe, some countries like Norway, Sweden also have their lands, and Russia also has its land, if you see. So it encompasses all the regions of Pacific Ocean and Asia as well. So these all lands of all these countries which forms part of different streams like Pacific Ocean. The lands of Pacific Ocean falls under Arctic region, and also Asian regions like Europe and also Russia also have lands around the Arctic region. So it has become very much important in 21st century. We will see the various issues why it became important. So this is about the map. So these are the countries that have the lands of Arctic Ocean region. So here precisely we will see what are the countries that have land in this Arctic region and why these are the members that are permanent in Arctic Council. So when we see the atlas here, if we you can actually see the atlas, then you will understand how the Arctic Ocean is and how these countries have land. So US have significant land of Alaska falls under this Arctic Ocean or Arctic climate. So all these lands have a separate climate, separate geography and separate flora and fauna. So that is why these countries have formed the Arctic Council, because they have their lands, they have their administration in these lands. Canada have that. Greenland is also a part because it is mostly covered with ice or snow, and Greenland comes under the control of Denmark. So Canada, Denmark, Iceland also have its landfall under this region. Norway, Sweden, Finland, which are Norwegian states, these five states of Norwegian countries like Denmark, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland falls under this Arctic Council. And Russia, US, Canada are other countries or significant players in this Arctic region because they have their lands in this Arctic region. So these countries formed this grouping called Arctic Council because they have their lands which have different different climate, that is Arctic climate, and Arctic flora and fauna. So this is called Arctic Council, and this is the Arctic region. So the Arctic Council is a leading intergovernmental forum. So these Arctic Council consists of different countries like US, Canada, Russia, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, etc. So they promote cooperation, coordination, and interaction among the Arctic states. So because their climate is different, the region has different needs because it need to be secured because no one can live there, but these countries have lands in this Arctic region. These countries, 8 member countries, form the Arctic Council and they coordinate the issues of Arctic region, and they cooperate in various issues like climate, controlling climate, not promoting anything that actually affects the Arctic stability and or ecological stability of Arctic region. So Arctic indigenous communities and other Arctic inhabitants on common Arctic issues. So some of the regions of Arctics have inhabitants. Those people were called indigenous inhabitants, those who are adopted there to live there in that climate. So the climate is very harsh, and the other Arctic inhabitants who are actually present there, they have common Arctic issues: how to control the climate, how to control the climatic change in Arctic, and how to promote the stability of ecology over there. These are the issues that actually falls under sustainable development and environmental protection. So these member states will see actually all these issues of environment and ecology of Arctic region. So Arctic Council works as a consensus body to deal with the issues such as change in biodiversity, melting sea ice, plastic pollution, and black carbon. So because of global warming, because of climate change, what is happening is Arctic region consists of glaciers or ice shields, if you know the geography of the region. So these region, because of global warming, actually the ice is melting away. So the actually, if we discuss geography over here, if the ice is melting, then the sea level will rise. Obviously the water will rise, so sea level will rise. What happens when the sea level rises? When the sea level rises, it is threat to low lying countries, because the countries or lands which are low lying, like islands, like small countries like Mauritius, or the countries that are present near Australia, or when we take New Zealand, or small islands like Java, these all islands which are low-lying will submerge under this ocean. So sea level rising will also affect not only these countries but also our climatic patterns, rainfalls. We have El Nino, La Nina, so these all will get affected. Even our monsoon can get affected because of climate change, because ice is melting, glaciers are melting. And one other important thing, if we talk about geography and environment regarding Arctic, is if greenhouse gases are increasing, then ice will melt away. So we know the concept of albedo. Albedo means a white snow cover which actually reflects the sunlight back to space. So we don't actually receive so much of sunlight because we have albedo effect or snow effect, because it is white in cover in color. The snow will actually reflect the UV rays of sunlight. So in that way, it is actually helping the earth temperature to be in a in to be in the control. So if the snow is melting, then UV rays come directly to the earth and we receive more of the sunlight. So there are many issues because of this climate change, how climate change is affecting Arctic. And this is about the geography. And if climate is getting changed, if the ice and seas glaciers are melting, there will be change in biodiversity as well. So animals cannot live there. So this and there are threat to flora and fauna which grows over there. And there is also plastic pollution. Plastic pollution is everywhere in the oceans, especially in the Arctic. It is very dangerous because of glacier melting there. And there is also carbon issue or black carbon because of pollution. So these are the issues that are concerning for Arctic region, and these Arctic Council and the member states of Arctic Council will actually make decisions regarding these issues and promote various activities that protect this Arctic region. So here we can see this is North Pole and Arctic region. This is a Pacific Ocean or now North American region, and Russian state, and some states of Norway, Sweden. We can see here. So this is the Arctic Ocean is a part of global common. So Arctic Ocean is not one country's, because we are because these 8 countries have lands. It doesn't mean the Arctic Ocean belongs to them. Arctic Ocean is a part of global commons. Everyone has interest in it and everyone has right in it, because it belongs to everyone, not only these states. Because these states form the group because they have the lands that fall in the Arctic region. So the region may hold over 40% of current global reserves of oil and gas. So according to the US Geological Survey, there are important global oil reserves there, gas reserves that can be exploited in this Arctic region. So it is very important for these countries, because every country is in race to get these reserves of oil and natural gas from this area. Now it is also a tourist destination. Many people are going for tourism in and in the pristine waters, in the clear waters of Arctic region. They are actually spoiling the climate over there by going there, by throwing the plastic. But tourism has also increased. One more important thing is, because of the climate change, what happened is, it is very important to understand this. So because of climate change, the ice have been melt in this region. And when the ice is melt, when the glaciers are melt in this region, there is an enormous amount of water. So what these countries have the interest in melting ice is, because the ice have been melt, there is a water, and with the water they can actually have a transport between these countries. So these countries have a huge interest. So when we see the shipping lanes in this first picture, if some exports or imports need to be done from Pacific to Asia, it goes through Suez Canal. Suez Canal is in Africa, and through Suez Canal, they will transport this oil or gas reserves from North America to Japan, for example. So it has become a long route. So what has happened in this decade is, in this decade of 2010 or from 2000s, these are because of global warming. These ice have been melt, and what these countries are saying is, they can actually form these trade routes, which because of water here, they can have shipping lanes here, they can transport goods uh, from here, from through this Arctic Ocean directly. It has become a short distance. So here, if through Suez route, it actually takes some 28,000 square kilometers from the Arctic Ocean, it is only 12,000 kilometers square. So it is very profitable for these countries if they actually uh, build the infrastructure or build these shipping lanes in this Arctic region. But it is very sensitive region, but many countries like Russia and US have been seeing to take over these lands because they wanted to establish infrastructure through for the imports and exports. So this is the important development in Arctic region. So if the shipping routes through the Arctic become more dense, the countries that lie astride these routes will gain importance. So there are strategic choke points like Panama Canal is there, Suez Canal is there. We also talked about, when we are talking about Indian Ocean, we talked about Malacca Straits. So these countries which have these straits and canals have actually benefited from because of these trade routes and all. And if Arctic region also now already they have little shipping lanes, but if they actually increased because of melting ice, because there is water, these shipping lanes increased, then actually there will be commerce in this region. But it is very difficult for controlling climate change that countries need to understand. And so these nations, some of the nations are claiming the territory around the Arctic Ocean, like US, Canada, Denmark, Norway, and Russia. These countries are saying they have the right in this region, but they don't have a common law how Arctic can be protected. They just formed the council to see issues of biodiversity or climate change, but they don't have any law that how it can be used, how commerce can be stopped. So they are seeing, these countries are actually seeing to exploit this region of Arctic Ocean because of melting ice. So the members we will discuss. The council has members that are ad hoc observer countries and permanent participants. So the members of Arctic Council have actually formed through Ottawa Declaration. So this Arctic Council is formed through this Ottawa Declaration. It is very important for prelims. And the countries which are part of this Arctic Council are Kingdom of Denmark, Canada, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Russia, Sweden, and USA. These are the 8 Arctic states that are the members of this Arctic Council. So Denmark represents Greenland and Faroe Islands. So these are the Faroe Islands. So these are the 8 states that form the membership of Arctic Council through Ottawa Declaration. And there are ad hoc members as well and observers as well. These So these observers doesn't have voting power, but these observers actually form the part of working groups. So as of May 2019, 30 non-Arctic states have observer status, like Germany, Netherlands, Poland, UK, France, Spain, China, India. India has also become observer member. Italy, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and Switzerland. These are observer countries, and they don't have voting power, but they form the membership of Arctic Council like observers, because Arctic Council belongs to everyone. Because if one country actually takes the control over Arctic Ocean, it is threat to climate for all. That is why every country has interest in it, and they form the observer members in this Arctic Council. So there is a working council for this Arctic Council, actually which sees about Arctic issues and give the reports to the Arctic Council. So Arctic Council assessments and recommendations are the results of analysis and efforts undertaken by the working groups. So there are number of working groups in Arctic Council, and its headquarters is in Norway. Arctic Council headquarter is in Norway. Currently, Iceland has the membership or chairmanship of this Arctic Council. So there are non-members, or we call them as observers. We talked, there are 13 observer members. So all these members and permanent members, what they do is they form the working groups. So each and every working group, they see certain issue. So some members actually sees about climate, some members see about the issues concerning flora and fauna, some sees about scientific research that is going around in the Arctic region. So they take the decisions based on the consensus of 8 Arctic Council states and full consents with full consultation and involvement of permanent participants. So these 8 members which we discussed, like USA, Canada, Denmark, Iceland, Norway, Russia, these are 8 members, and they actually take the decisions based on consensus. It means all 8 members need to accept. But whatever the reports that Arctic Council is producing is from all the members, or members of observer states as well. So the chairmanship of Arctic Council rotates every 2 years among the Arctic states. So chairmanship is for 2 years. For one country actually becomes a chairman of this council for 2 years. First country to chair the Arctic Council was Canada in 1996. The next country to assume the chairmanship will be Iceland from 2019 to 2021. So now the chairmanship is in Iceland, and it is headquartered in Norway. So the mechanism of council, we have talked about the working council. There are different working groups. So the working council primarily the work of its council is carried out in 6 working groups. So the Arctic Contaminants Action Group is there, actually sees about reducing emissions and pollutants. So there are different rules which every country will participate along with the observer states. They form the group and they see the issues like contaminants which are contaminating the Arctic region, and Arctic monitoring and assessment program. So these working group, what it does, it sees about what is environment, how it degraded or how it can be upgraded, and what about it sees about ecosystem, human populations, and scientific advice. It gives advice to the governments what are the things that these governments can do to promote the ecology of this Arctic region and to tackle pollution and climate change in this region. So one group actually sees about Arctic flora and fauna, how it can be conserved, how Arctic biodiversity can be protected. Other working group that sees about emergency prevention, preparedness and response working group. It works to protect the Arctic environment from the threat or impact of accidental release of pollutant or radionuclides. So this sees about any emergency or any threats like oil spills, or because commerce is going on. So it sees about any release of any pollutants that will damage the Arctic climate. And there is other working group that actually sees about marine environment, or and or the oceanic environment in there. Or if we talk oceanic environment, that is about glaciers. So it sees about how to protect the marine environment. So there is other working group, that is sustainable development working group. It works to advance sustainable development in the Arctic and to improve the conditions of Arctic communities. So it sees about how sustainable development can be promoted, because people are living there. When people are living there, they have resources, but they have to use that resources without polluting the climate in the Arctic region. So this sustainable development working group actually sees that. So these are the 6 working groups that are present in the Arctic Council, and they see each every issue, or different 6 different areas of concern for Arctic region. So commercial and strategic interests of Arctic region, we have known that Arctic region consists of oil and natural gas reserves. So definitely the countries are going to have interest in this region, and melting ice and has also added an important advantage to these nations to actually build the shipping lanes in this Arctic Ocean region. But the Arctic Council has a responsibility to oversee the developments in this region, and they wanted to actually manage the issues that are concerned in this Ocean region. That is why they have been formed this Arctic Council. But what the issue here is, the Arctic Council did not form to prohibit the commercial exploitation in this Arctic region. They just formed this Arctic Council to promote their interests peaceful manner, because all the 8 states have the interest in this Arctic region and others also have. So Arctic Council and its declaration does not prohibit the commercial exploitation of the resources in the Arctic. They can actually exploit the resources, and Arctic Council actually promotes that exploitation of resources. It it will ensure that commercial exploitation will be in a sustainable manner without harming the interests of local population and local environment. So they want to do the development, they wanted to exploit the resources or take advantage of this Arctic region in a sustainable way without harming people, indigenous people living there, and also not harming environment. But having infrastructure there will significantly impact climate as well. So even others observer states like India and others like China have also been saying to promote this Arctic region, to promote the stability and environment of Arctic region. They have been saying to use this Arctic region in a peaceful way, not actually the countries like US and Russia are moving in a fast manner to actually see how to exploit the lands of Arctic region. But these countries are saying this Arctic region should be only for scientific purposes, only for research purposes, but not for other purposes like building commercial or shipping lanes. So therefore, to stay relevant in the Arctic region, India should take the advantage of the observer status it has earned in the Arctic Council and consider investing more in Arctic. So we have certain interests as India, like scientific interests, and also we have our oceans related, and because we have important weightage to monsoon when it comes to our economy. Our monsoon affects our economy because it affects our agriculture, so economy is affected. So because Arctic region is very sensitive to the climate change, it will affect everyone. So India has also certain interests, and along with this India got the observer status in the Arctic Council. So India should participate more and invest its research and various other things more in the Arctic Council or Arctic region. So India and Arctic. India launched its first scientific expedition to Arctic Ocean in 2007. First, India went to Arctic Ocean as a nation in 2007 and opened a research base in International Arctic Research Base at Ny-Ålesund, or in Norway, that is in Svalbard. So in Norway there is a research station in the Arctic land, that is research base of ours is called Himadri, that we opened in 2008 for carrying out studies in disciplines like glaciology, which studies about glaciers, atmospheric sciences, what is about the atmosphere over there, and biological sciences, what about the flora and fauna over there, or bacteria or fungus which present in that region, because we have Himalayas as well. So when we compare these all the data of Arctic region or Himalayan region, we can actually conserve various resources, and we can protect the environment of different biological realms on the earth. So uh, when I say the biological realms, it is about the biologic biomes, or every country has a different biome, Arctic biome or tropical biome, like that. So it is about seeing or conducting research in all these areas, and it will benefit everyone as well, every country as well. So India opened this Himadri or research base in Arctic Ocean, and we have research bases in Antarctic Ocean as well. So in that perspective, we have to remember which research base is in Arctic. So Himadri is that research base that we have in Arctic Ocean region. So the purposes of Indian research, or the objectives of Indian research, why India wanted to do research in the Arctic region with the Himadri as a base. So to study the hypothesized teleconnections between Arctic climate and Indian monsoon by analyzing the sediment and ice core records from the Arctic glaciers and Arctic Ocean region. So there are many hypotheses like El Nino or La Nina. We have many hypotheses that climate is related from one region to other region. That is how climate in one region, like El Nino in one region, will affect us our monsoon as well. So this teleconnections or climatic connections between Arctic and our monsoon can be actually known if we do research over there. That is how this Arctic region will be important to our monsoon. So we can know the ice core records, with that we can know we have Himalayas as well. So uh, the data in the Arctic region can be used in our Himalayan region, and also for our monsoon as well. So to characterize the sea ice in the Arctic using satellite data to estimate the effect of global warming in the northern polar region. So we can study how global warming is impacting this region, and how it will actually increase the sea level rise, and also to conduct the research on dynamics and mass budget of Arctic glaciers. We can conduct the research on this Arctic glaciers, because we also have glaciers, we have Himalayas as well. So it will be very useful if we do research. Indian research and Indian scientists will get important knowledge by doing research in this Arctic Ocean region. And to carry out a comprehensive assessment of flora and fauna of the Arctic and the response to the anthropogenic activities or human activities, how human activities are affecting the animals and biodiversity over there. So in addition, it is proposed to undertake a comparative study of life forms from both the polar region. So India has also important bases in Antarctic as well. So Indian researchers are actually comparing the data of Arctic and Antarctic, so that they have a good amount of Indian research can go on to these regions, and India can also be a partner in this Arctic Ocean region and development of this region. So these are about the objectives of Indian research. So India has been closely following various developments, that various interests that the permanent members are giving for the Arctic region, and India can also exploit the commercial lanes that these 8 members are eyeing for, because every country has interests, because Arctic Ocean region is not for only that 8 countries which have their land. Arctic Ocean consists of huge glaciers, which it is about global commons, and there is no Arctic policy for any country. So India can also eye on this Arctic region, and to secure this Arctic Ocean region. So in 2018, Ministry of Earth Sciences renamed the National Center for Antarctic Ocean Research as National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. So this is one fact here. Ministry of Earth Sciences renamed the Center of Antarctic and Ocean Research because first we have Antarctic Ocean Research only. In 2007 only we have opened up our research in Arctic Ocean. So we combinedly called it as National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. So it is a nodal organization coordinating the research activities in this at the stations of both the poles in Antarctic and Arctic as well. So India's interest in Arctic region are both scientific, we are doing research because it will benefit our climate, so our monsoon is related, and also we have Himalayas which have almost same climate of Arctic. So there are environmental issues also for India, and also we have commercial interests as well as strategic interests. So this is about how important Arctic Ocean region is for India. So India has also entered into a memorandum of understanding with Norwegian Polar Research Institute of Norway in cooperation about the science, and also Kings Bay, a company at Svalbard at Ny-Ålesund for logistic and infrastructure facilities for undertaking Arctic research, maintaining Indian research base Himadri at Arctic region. So we have been cooperating with the Norwegian Polar Research Institute, and we have signed an agreement or MOU with this Norwegian or Norway's Polar Research Institute, because we have the Himadri Arctic Ocean base there. We have to cooperate with other research institutes as well, and we have been significantly upgrading our logistic and infrastructure facilities in this Himadri base. And in 2019 India has been re-elected as observer to the council. So every 2 years the 13 observers are not permanent, and these observers will get re-elected. So India does not have an official Arctic policy, and its Arctic research objectives has been centered on ecological and environmental aspects with a focus on climate change till now. So we still now from 2007 we have been concentrating only on research or ecology and environmental aspects, but we don't have any official Arctic policy what we have to do with Arctic region, especially in the area of commercial and strategic interests. But obviously we have a commercial and strategic interests, and India should have a official Arctic policy so that India can actually formulate how India is going to take this Arctic region, how seriously India can actually develop the commercial interests in this region along with other 8 permanent members who are part of the Arctic Council, because Arctic Council does not stop these members from commercially exploiting this Arctic region. So India can also find a way, India can also get benefit from this Arctic Ocean region. So I hope you understood about this Arctic Council. It consists of 8 member states who have lands in this Arctic region, and what are the commercial interests for all these nations, and how India is actually contributing to Arctic region through research. And India should have Arctic policy for our future commercial interests as well. So this is about Arctic Council and how Arctic Council is important to India. Thank you.